Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear members of PATA. It is a great pleasure for me to welcome you all on behalf of the city of Seville as Deputy Mayor of this City Council to this wonderful PATA Dream to Travel Festival. Thank you to Dr. Mario Hardy and Mrs. Daniela Wagner for the possibility they offer us to participate in this amazing event. Spain, as the rest of the world, has suffered the health crisis caused by the COVID-19. Fortunately, our country and in particular our city has taken the necessary measures to continue being safe destination as we were before. As a consequence of this, Sevilla has been one of the first cities in the world to receive the Safe Global Stamp distinction from the WTTC as a guarantee for the measures taken to adapt our tourist industry to the prevention of the COVID. Sevilla represents the best of the Spanish and Southern European culture. We look forward to welcoming you to our city for the next PATA European Summit in next year. You will have the chance to enjoy Seville at its the best. Thank you very much.
Hello guys, how do you do? We stay now in the center of Seville, in the kilometer zero from our city, the city Seville. Thank you. How do you do? How do you do, Clara?
Hi, how are you? Long time no see.
Thank you, thank you. Introduce yourselves, Clara,
Okay.
please.
Okay. So, my name is Clara and I'm official guide. My major is also history of art, and today I'm going to show you one of the most interesting palaces in Seville, Dueñas Palace. In those times, we need some security. For example, we need to wash the hands, okay? And also we need to wear mask. Let's go. Now we are going to enter in the palace, and the procedure to go in is first, the first step is to take the temperature with this machine, like this. Okay, I'm wealthy. Hello, we would like to have 2 tickets. Thank you very much. Okay, Manuel, before we enter in the building, I'm gonna explain you the history a little bit of the palace. Let's go back to the origin. We are at the end of 15th century, and a noble woman called Catalina de Rivera, she bought a house from another family, Pineda. In that moment, Sevilla was full of artists. They came for the construction of the cathedral, largest Gothic cathedral in the world. And Sevilla was moving in between 2 wars. The last days of Gothic style, but at the same time, it was open to the new shape of Renaissance. Okay?
Interesting.
Also, nearby the cathedral was the Alcázar palace, and in the Alcázar was another palace called Peter I Mudéjar Palace. It was the mirror that all the palaces were reflecting in, the mother of all the palaces, we can say. In this context, come to life Dueñas Palace, this palace. We jump a little bit in the history, a few generations, and we are now at the first half of 17th century. In that moment, one of the descendants of Catalina de Rivera got married with the 6th Duke of Alba. From that moment on, the Alba house and Dueñas Palace were linked forever. Okay? One of the most interesting family members of Alba house was the Duchess of Alba, Cayetana de Alba. She died in 2014, and she has castles and palaces everywhere in Spain. Her favorite one was this palace, the Dueñas Palace, her residence in Sevilla. Now, this palace is owned by her eldest son, Carlos V James Stuart, the 19th Duke of Alba. I would like to tell you more about the personality of the Duchess of Alba. She was very peculiar, we can say. She had very outstanding outlook, appearance, and also she was quite free for being a member of the nobility. And this house is the reflection of the personality, of her way of living, her way to see the world. Okay? So it's not just to visit a palace, it's just like to open a window and to enter in the intimacy of someone's life. Okay? It's a palace that is still in use, still alive. This makes a big difference, because what we are going to see is not a museum, it's not a historical relic, it's a living palace. So, the Duchess' personality was very special. She had a very unique look, and she was a lover of flamenco, bullfighting, tradition, art, literature, fine art. So this house is a reflection of her personality, her way of living, her way to see the world. So it's like to open a window to the past and to look into the intimacy of someone's heart.
It's good. Very nice, very nice. Okay.
We We are now in the apeadero. The garden leads us to this place, which in Spanish is called apeadero. It's the place when visitors come by carriage. They left the carriage in here to enter in the palace. In here there is a great collection of Roman sculptures. Some of them you can appreciate in here, for example, those ones. And also there is a collection of Spanish painting with typical scenes. These go away to the palace. Let's go. This is one of the oldest part of the palace, 15th century, and this patio, this courtyard, is the heart of the palace. From here we see the distribution of all the rooms. We have a chapel, we have salons, we have another patios, we have a library, we have a tablao, dancing room, okay? And in this patio, they coexist three styles: Gothic, Mudéjar, and Renaissance. If you look up, in the second floor, in the very upper part, we see over there Gothic style. A little bit in between the arches and on the frieze of the second floor, we also see Mudéjar style. Mudéjar in a very simple way, I'm going to say in a very simple way, is when Christians and Muslims go hand in hand or holding hands in the art. In those inscriptions says, singing to Allah, only Allah is the winner, the empire of Allah, and we can appreciate the Renaissance style in the ceilings. So these three styles are living together. We are now in the chapel of the palace. This chapel has two functions, one religious function and the second one social function. Although it was a private chapel, it was open to public, and also in here they could celebrate masses, official masses, communions, weddings, because this small space have all the permission from the Pope in Rome to celebrate official ceremonies. This tells us the importance of this small space, because it was quite difficult to get all those permissions. This is 15th century chapel and is one of the construction of Catalina de Rivera, the founder of the palace. It's quite interesting because we see the Gothic shapes, like in the ceilings, the domes and the nerve of the Gothic chapel, and the altar, which is also 15th century altar. But at the same time, we see very modern items. For example, the one we see on the very left, that ceramic of Jesus, that tile of Jesus, and the one on the right, the Virgin Mary. This is quite modern. So in this space coexist also two styles: the taste, the flavor of Gothic style 15th century with the nowadays taste, with very common work of art. We are now in the tablao, the dance room, and here the Duchess was spending time dancing and painting, two activities she enjoyed a lot. She received in here classes from a master called Enrique el Cojo, and also some of the painting you are looking at are her painting, her paint herself in very naive style. For example, the one we have in front of us. We are now in the library. The Duchess was a great lover of literature, and among all these books we find a special artwork, at least for me and for many other people. Is the one we see here, this small drawing, is Dalí drawing Don Quixote. So we are now in the print room. It has this name because here we find a collection of posters of the Sevillian festivities called La Feria, Flamenco Fair. Some of them are very old. Also we find also some bullfighting poster, and some costume which are a present of this one, Curro Romero, which was he's a very famous bullfighter and a very good friend of the Duchess of Alba. In here we can see a photography that both are together, and the one we see in the back is Manzanares' son, the Cape. The Duchess was a great lover of art, and she had a wonderful collection with masterpieces such as the one we have in the antechapel. For example, this one, which is a portrait of King Sebastian of Portugal, and the artist is Sofonisba Anguissola. She was quite important because she was the first woman in Renaissance who got recognition. Another one is the one we have in here, which is José de Rivera, who was a Spanish artist of 17th century. This is the crowning with thorns. And the third one is also one of my favorites, is the one we have here, is 16th century, the deposition of Aníbal Carracci. We are now in the so-called the gypsy room, because the main object of this salon is this dancer, flamenco dancer of Mariano Benjuri. This is a perfect place for meeting, social events, and in this wall have been personalities such as Grace Kelly and Jackie Kennedy. Also here we find the collection of art, and one of my favorite one is the one we see here, which is a Luca Giordano painting, the Epiphany, 17th century, and also is remarkable the tapestry we see on the back, which is the artist is Willem the Panamaker, and is 16th century. So we are now at the staircase, which is quite significant because it's connecting the main floor with the third floor, which is not possible to visit because it's the residence of the current Duke of Alba, the 19th Duke of Alba. Sevilla is very hot city. In summer we can have more than 40 degrees, so it's very common that in summer they use the main floor escaping from the direct sun rays, and in winter they move to the first floor, escaping from the damp and the humidity of the main floor. Also, it's remarkable, and I would like to have a look to the ceilings, which is one of the best examples of Moorish style. We are now in a typical Sevillian garden of nobility houses. In those gardens we can find, for example, bougainvillea, lemon trees, orange trees, and myrtle. This kind of garden have two functions. The first one is the enjoyment, to enjoy the senses, and the second function is to cool the atmosphere, because I mentioned before Sevilla is very, very hot, so in this kind of garden the degrees came a little bit lower than outside.
Clara, from the 21st century to the 16th century. This is the now Victoria. Do you know?
I know a little bit, but I would like to find someone to explain better this.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Magallanes?
Maybe.
Yes,
Maybe
Magallanes?
that would be perfect. That
Okay,
would be perfect.
that's right. We're going. Magallanes?
Yeah, it's me.
Good. How do you do?
I'm here in Seville. Welcome to Seville. My name is Ferdinand Magellan, and this is the boat, the ship Now Victoria. The first is the only one that came back for the first circumnavigation of the world.
Very nice, very nice.
If you want to discover the most important expedition ever happened in history, so please follow me. In 1519, a fleet of 5 ships, sponsored by the crown, the Spanish crown, King Charles I, we decided to go to the Molucco Islands. But we have to go there navigating to the east, but it was dangerous because after the Treaty of Tordesillas, this part of the world was dominated by the Portuguese. And for that reason, we decided to open a new route, navigating to the west. But you have to know that after the discovering of America, nobody has gone farther the Atlantic coast. But I knew there should be a new way to cross and finally get the Molucca Island. In 1517, I arrived to Seville, and I was preparing this travel, this expedition for 2 years. And from that point, from the port of Seville, 5 ships, Concepción, Trinidad, Victoria, San Antonio and Santiago, started the most important expedition ever happened in history. But it was a really hard travel. The crew suffered for starving, scurvy, and famine. We don't have anything to eat during this travel. My sailors have to eat rats and drink putrid water. And the saddest part of that story was at Matang. Meanwhile, we were fighting the local leader, Lapu-Lapu, I was killed. But it was Juan Sebastián Elcano, the one who continued with that story, with that trip. And he managed to arrive to Seville. And in the 8th of September 1522, this boat, this ship, the now Victoria, arrived to the port of Seville. Why did we wanted to go to Maluku's island? Why did we wanted to go to the Spice Island? The main reason was the species cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, because they were worth than gold. And for that reason, we decided to create a new route navigating to the west. But with the arrival of this ship, the now Victoria, this expedition finished. But if you want to learn more, if you want to discover everything in detail, you may come to Seville. You may come to here and discover and enjoy our visit in this boat. And as well, you can also discover the first circumnavigation museum that is just close to the river and close to this now Victoria.
All the palaces in Europe are still in use. The royal family, the king and queen of Spain, when they come to Sevilla, they stay in here. And today we cannot go in because they are coming. Look, the flag is in there. So this is a sign that the royal family is in there.
Is there a queen here?
Yes.
It's impossible.
It's possible.
It's here.
It's here.
Oh, look at her.
Yeah, look at her. Look, look. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
¡Te queremos mucho! ¡Viva! ¡Viva el rey!
Feliz. Like I mentioned before, we are now in the heart of the city and we are surrounded by three very important buildings. We mentioned already the Alcázar Palace, oldest palace in Europe, still alive. And behind me, we have the Archive Palace, all the documents concerning to the discovery of America and navigators and sailors and the Spanish colonies in South America are in here. This is the memory of America. If we destroy this building and everything that is in there, we destroy the memory of America, so it's quite important. And the third building we are looking at is a cathedral, but it's not just a cathedral, it's the largest Gothic cathedral in the world. In this spot is gathered the three powers of the city: political, economical and religious power. So, the Cathedral of Sevilla, like I mentioned before, largest Gothic cathedral in the world. But before the cathedral, here was a mosque. The remain of the mosque is the tower we see in here. If you can notice, the upper part is slightly different to the other part. So, from the beginning until the bells, more or less, was built by Moors in 12th century. From the bells on top, it was added by Christian in 15th century. It's very well blended, so this is an example of what is Sevilla, because it's Christian, Muslim, and the basement use Roman stone. So this is Sevilla, Roman, Christian, Muslim, everything blended in the same space. Now you know, Manuel,
Yes.
Sevilla is a safe city. It's mandatory to wear masks. It's mandatory to keep the distance and also to use hand sanitizer. So, see you in Seville!